Hi, I'm John Townsend from James Townsend and Son, and today we're covering lots of questions and how to straighten antler tips. Thanks for joining us today on Questions and Answers with James Townsend and Son. We got some great questions today. Let's start out with some questions that we got on the preserving beans video. Mark Simmons says, salt was used as a preservative a lot in the 17th and 18th centuries. Was leached liquid dried and the salt reused? I ask this because all that salt leach would poison the ground. Yeah, salt was, and it probably really depends on the cultural context and the particular spot about whether or not salt was in great demand in that particular location. In North America, salt was not nearly as easily to get a hold of as it would be maybe in England, but definitely they would have got that salt out and dried it and reused it for other preserving situations. Colorado 14K says, can you use clear mason jars for this type of preservation? What vegetables can you preserve with this technique? And is it possible to use this technique for long-term storage, a year or more? There's a lot of questions there. The mason jar question, yes, definitely a mason jar would work great for this type of preservation technique. So what type of vegetables can we use? Well, beans were the most common one, especially in 18th century texts or recipe books. But if you look all the way up into the early 20th century, you'll see that same technique being used for other types of vegetables, such as beets, cauliflower, kohlrabi, cucumbers, peppers, green tomatoes, ripe tomatoes, and corn on the cob. And some of those directions call for packing it exactly the same way, and then after a few days pouring brine over the top if there wasn't enough liquid already in that, so that that was protected from the air. And there's the question of, and this many people asked, about how long it's good for. And, the recipes don't really call that out. They don't say exactly how long these things are going to be good for. My guess is they're going to be good for quite a good period of time. Normally, though, I would expect them to last from one harvest season to the beginning of the next. So I doubt that they would necessarily use this for more than a year's worth of storage or 3/4 of the year. So you'd store your vegetables when they became ripe, and you would use them through the winter and into spring, and then you would start working on new crops after that. Horror Beauty FX has a great question. How did they preserve eggs in the 18th century? That's a really big topic. There is a very interesting document from about 1800 where a gentleman really goes into the scientific method, and he tests out many different types of preservation techniques that were being used during that time period, and he gives the results about which ones work best. That's such a big topic that we will be covering it in a future episode, so make sure to stay tuned for egg preservation techniques. The next question comes from one that's way back, the Pan Perdue, which is sort of French toast as we would know it today episode, and he says, would sack mead work? If so, sweet would be better than dry, and that's the question. And we're not familiar with that particular wine or drink, but any of those kinds of things are going to work. If they're a drier one, you're going to need to add some sugar to it. But any of those, really, it's purely a taste sort of thing on that. On the update garden video that we just put out yesterday, Ziggy of the North says, Purslane is a very common weed in North America. Here in Pennsylvania, it pops up in gardens on its own. If you forage wild plants, it's one of the easiest to identify with its succulent, thick succulent leaves. Yeah, it grows around here in sidewalks, and it's a very easy to find, very interesting plant. That's very much a weed as we would know it today. So get out there and look for that purslane. It's probably popping up everywhere. Also, thank you guys so much for the amazing suggestions for the garden update video. Lots and lots of suggestions for that. Suggestions about planting, and if you're interested in herb gardens, make sure to check out the comment section in that video because there's a lot of good stuff there. Thanks. Also, back in the knife kit video, 57 Willie CJ had those suggestions about antler straightening, and we did experiment with that. It was very interesting. We've got a little footage here where we went ahead and we soaked the antler tip and then boiled it for 20 minutes and put it in a vise, and you can straighten it out. Maybe not, you don't want to do extreme straightening because then it'll start to crack, but you can do some really interesting stuff with antlers. So if you get a chance to play around with antler tips, give that a try. And you can see a step-by-step tutorial on our Facebook page. I'll give you a link to that. And also a shout out and big super duper thank you to dustyoldthing.com. Also, they have a Facebook page. They've been posting a few of our videos over the past month or two, and I really want to thank them for that. That's great sharing. Thank you so much. Also, one little update on our James Townsend & Son website. If you're a Pinterest person, we've added a little link up there in the, I guess it's on this side, in the sidebar, so you can pin pictures from our website if you're interested in that. I really want to thank all you guys for your great comments, your super great questions. We've been getting so many of those. Those are great. They really help us know what people are interested in, and it's very, very encouraging. Thank you so much for that. If you really like these videos, please share them with your friends, and I want to thank you for watching. If you're a new viewer and you haven't subscribed, press the subscribe button up here. That'll take you to a spot where you can subscribe. That really is the best way to get notification of all the new videos that are out. I want to thank everyone for watching.